السبيل العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. صل على محمد. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم كتابه: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات اللهم صل على Muhammad. For the love of Abba Abdullah al-Hussein, with the loudest of our voices, صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. For the love of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, أرواحنا له الفداء، صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Once again, we thank Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us with another moment, another opportunity to continue to witness the marriage contract between families. It is indeed a great blessing to us as community, as during the contract of marriage, a lot of mercies and benedictions of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes down. Tonight, inshallah, the verse in question is chapter 4, verse 1. Where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in this particular verse of glorious Quran, chapter Nisa, highlight on some important key issues regarding the personality of man and the personality of woman and the relationship between man and woman. So therefore, tonight's discourse will base on this particular verse of chapter Nisa, number 1. And my examination of tonight will be of 3 stages. The first stage, we will look at the concept of creation, whereby I will look at the creation of a woman and the creation of man. And then we'll ask ourselves, which one is superior over the other? Is woman superior over man, or man superior over woman? Or there is no superiority between man and woman? Each and every one of them is in his own area and he has his own role to play. That's number 1 examination. Number 2, we will look at the most factor or motivating strength of a marital relationship. What are the strengths or the factors outlined by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran, that if me and you are able to put those factors or that factor in perspective and we consider it in each and every step of our marital lives, we will be successful. We will look at that factor. And last but not least, we will look at the role of a woman towards her husband. What is expected of a woman towards her husband? You as wife, what do you need to do? You remember last week night marriage, I discussed about the role of man towards his wife and what is expected from man towards his wife. Tonight, inshallah, we will conclude our discourse by highlighting on those key factors where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and Ahlul Bayt want a woman to be in a marital life, for that marriage to be considered a very successful marriage. Now let us begin with our examination. When you go to Quran, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in numerous verses discusses the concept of creation. But tonight, how I'm going to do it, I just want to limit it only with the creation of man and the creation of woman. And I want you to pay attention and lend me your hearing. Because you realize that the creator is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as you know, and we are told, Inna Allah jamilun wa yuhibbul jamal. Allah is beautiful and he loves beauty. So if Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty, therefore whatever is created by Allah or whatever emanates from Allah has to be beautiful. In other words, whatever Allah does is perfect and complete and absolute. So therefore, based on this particular riwayah, we go down and look at Quran. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, whatever you see on the face of universe is beauty. Why is beauty? And Allah is not stopping there. He said it's also perfect and complete. Because why? The creator is Allah. Allah khaliqu kulli shay. Allah is the creator of everything that you see on the face of universe. And one verse, Allah Ta'ala will tell me and you, Alladhi ahsana kulla shay'in khalqa. He is the one who beautify whatever He has created. Yani, whatever Allah created on the face of universe, it is so beautiful. And of course, Quran made me and you to be aware of the fact that on top of all that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala created, the chief of them is insan, human being. Therefore, Allah, when He finished creating the son of Adam, be it man or woman, what does Allah say in Quran? فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Glory be to Allah, who is the best of the creators. Because Allah now, He has molded the son of Adam. He has molded insan. Here, there is a question here. And from this question is where I'm departing with my discussion. The first question is that, are men and women created from same thing? Yani the component that Allah used to create woman, is it the same component that Allah used to create man? That's number one. Number two, are men and women created from two different components? Yani the component Allah used to create woman is independent, and the one Allah used to create man is independent. That's number two. Number three question is that, is man the origin and woman the branch of a man? Yani Allah created man. Then after creating man, out of man, Allah created woman. That is the third question. The last question is the vice versa of the third one. Is woman the origin? Then after that, Allah created man from woman. When you go to Quran and dissect each and every one of these questions, you realize that question 2, you will not have anything in Quran about it. Whereby Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala created man and woman from two independent components. Yani the substance Allah used to create woman is different from the one Allah used to create man. There is nothing about it in Quran. That's number one. Number two, is man the superior and woman the inferior, whereby man is the origin and Allah out of man He created woman. There is nothing in Quran about that. Number three, is woman the superior and man the inferior, whereby Allah created woman, then after that He created man. Nothing in Quran about that. The only one we have in Quran is where Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is telling me and you, man and woman are created from one single being. Chapter Nisa, verse 1. Ya ayyuhan nasu attaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. Allah now is not addressing believing men and women alone. Allah is addressing mankind. Oh mankind, fear Allah, be conscious of the things of Allah, who created you from one single being. So therefore, man and woman are created. You know, some people, when you read some translation, here they said, who created you from one single soul. But here, nafs is not soul in particular, really. It is one single being, one single self. It means the same substance. Allah used to create man. Allah used the same substance to create woman. So in terms of creation, there is no superiority. Man is not superior over woman, and woman is not superior over man. We are all from one single being. Therefore, Allah, when He says in Quran, we have honored and cherished the son of Adam, Allah is referring to man and is referring to woman at the same time. There is no any distinction whereby today you come and tell me men are superior over woman or woman are superior over man. We do not have that. The superiority only comes in terms of the hardship of the responsibilities only. Where Allah mentioned in Quran, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا. Here in terms of our responsibility, whereby you go, you as man, you face a lot of hardship, a lot of problems, a lot of pains, a lot of difficulties to fend for the family. So Allah said you have an upper hand over them. Not that you are superior, because she has some roles that she plays in the house, and that is also very hard. You cannot play that role. Here, when you look at this verse properly, chapter 4, verse 1, what are we getting out of this verse? Number one, Allah is saying nas, people. So since Allah said people, then there is no distinction between you and her, between you and your wife. Later I will tell you. There is no any distinction. You are all the same. Muslimina, Muslimat. Mu'minina, Mu'minat. Qanitina, Qanitat. If you are good, you are good. You get that Allah based on your effort. Simple. And the second thing I want to draw your attention to is that you realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first man he created, he made the first woman to be his wife. First man he created is Adam. Just ponder on that. And the first woman he created is Hawa. So he made the first woman to be the first wife of the first man. To tell you that these are all the same, and marriage is an institution naturally created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, we have a riwayah of a myth and misconception, which our beloved Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi salli ala Muhammad, removed that misconception, and he takes us away from it. Whereby we have this notion that a woman is created from the rib of a man. Even there are some Muslims who uphold this notion that woman, she's a slave to man. Woman is non-entity. Woman, whatever man says, she has to ask how high I do. Because they are under impression that this miskina lady, she's created from the rib of a man. Our beloved Chief Imam said, no, this is misconception and it's a myth. Allah is greater than that. The way he created Adam out of his infinite power and mercy, he created Hawa, the same thing. Then our beloved Imam said, when Allah created Hawa, and Adam now realized that there is someone next to him, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said to Adam, if you want to console yourself with this lady, you need to ask of her hand from me. Therefore, when you have to go for marriage, you have to ask the hand of a girl. It started from Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Then Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala said to me, again, asking for her hand alone is not enough. You need to give something for her to become halal to you. That is where the whole concept of mahar and sadaq come. Whereby Adam, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala taught him, he said, I have one thing to give. You know what Adam gave as mahar for Hawa? Adam said, I will teach her your missions and your teachings, Allah. So the teaching that Adam promised to teach Hawa became the mahar of Hawa for the marriage between Adam and Hawa alayhim salam. Therefore, Rasulullah came forward when Rasulullah discusses about the concept of mahar. One day, if Allah give us tawfiq, we'll discuss it into details. Rasulullah said the best of the mahar is the cheapest and the simplest mahar. Khayru nisa'i ummati. The best of the women of my ummah, akalluhunna mahra. They are those ladies whose mahar is very small. Therefore, you look at the mahar of our beloved mother, Fatimah al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Some scholars said it was 480 dirham. 160 dirham was used for perfume, and 160 was used for clothes, and 66 was used for the things of the house. And 96 Rasulullah told Salma, keep it, when the need arises, we'll take it from you. So therefore, the concept of mahar also started from Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. What I'm trying to say in this first step of my examination is that there is no superiority between man and woman. We are all created from one single being and from one single self. The more effort you make, the more you get closer to Allah. The less effort you make in your marriage, the less you become successful in the eye of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's go to the second examination. The second examination is, what is the strength of every marital relationship? Here I want to say marriage is for perfection and not for imperfection. You are married for your wife to perfect you. And you are married for your husband to perfect you. How does it work? You see, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in Quran, you know, when Allah talks about marriage, He told that there are two strengths of marriage. The one is mawadda and the other one is rahma. It's rahma, isn't it? And I told you mawadda is two-sided and rahma is one-sided. But this mawadda, before it comes, there must be mahabba. They said mahabba is sifa nafsiya and mawadda is sifa sulukiya. Mahabba, it is a psychological attribute whereby it is inside you. But mawadda, it is shown outside. Now I want to demonstrate it for you to see. Look at this scenario. Man, woman. You see, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He created us, as I mentioned, from one single self. Just pay attention. But there are some features in men that cannot be found in women. And there are some features in women that cannot be found in men. And because of differences of features which I'm going to outline, therefore we need to be in marriage so that we can perfect one another. Again, example, I'm going to speak generally. Generally, when you look at man or men in general, mostly men are tough in structure. Women mostly and generally, they are not tough in structure. That's number one. Number two, mostly men are taller than women. Women mostly and generally speaking, they are short. That's number two. Number three, when you look at men in general, they are rough in their approach of life. But women generally, they are sweet in their approach of life. Number four, when you look at men in general, when they talk, they sound a little bit harsh and rough. But when you look at women, their voice are sweet. Therefore, Islam said stay away from their voice because sometimes it may cause fitna in your heart. Because generally, of course, you may find women, their voice is something else. That's exceptional. It's something else. The same thing when you come, number four, you look at men. Men are not resistant to sickness and disease. Women are resistant to sickness. Why women are resistant? And men are not resistant? Because one of the features of men is that men are able to have a secret within themselves. And women, oh yeah Allah, they cannot have a secret. So therefore, because men are able to have this is in psychology, we study this, and even science here and there. So therefore, women are not like that. Let's go to the next difference between both of them. When you look at man, man is a slave of desire. And woman is not a slave of desire by nature. She's a slave of a man. Man is a slave of desire completely. Look at yourself. But a woman is not a slave of desire. She is your slave if you know how to mold the hair. But if you don't know how to mold the hair, it becomes a problem. Now the same thing, when you look at man, man expects something from a woman. You know what men normally they expect from their woman? They want a woman to perceive them their boss. Authority, saitara, they want to control. That's our nature generally. But when you look at women, they don't want that to become boss. No, women only want your heart. If you give the heart, you can control. Just give her that emotional attention and you can control her. You call short anytime, no problem. Therefore, woman, if you can give her the whole of this dunya and you don't give her that heart, she will tell you one day, what have you done to me? The same thing, men, you know what we want from our women? We want beauty. But women, they don't expect that beauty from you. They expect bravery. You have to be brave. If you are brave, then it's fine. Therefore, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala institute this institution of marriage. So that you man with these features, and you woman with these features, you need to come together to complement one another. You need one another to complement each other because you've got certain features which the other person does not have. So when you come with your feature of a harshness and a feature of a kindness and humbleness, therefore we are told also, men generally they are intellectual and women generally they are emotional. So you need to complement. Even some of our great scholars of spirituality, they told us when you look at the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah tabarak wa ta'ala is made up of two major attributes. We have the attribute of essence and the attribute of acts or attribute of action. They said the attribute of essence of Allah are also divided into two. We have the attribute of glory and the attribute of beauty. They said when you look at the creation of man and woman, woman represent the attribute of beauty of Allah and man represent the attribute of glory of Allah. So therefore, you need to come together to perfect one another. Therefore, when we come into marriages, we are there to complement. There is something in that woman which I need it badly. Without it, I will be stuck in my life. And there is something in this man which I need it badly. Without it, I will be stuck. Therefore, when Allah say in Quran, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, I just specifically touch base on this mawadda. Mawadda, you know, two-sided. But you cannot have mawadda without mahabba. Mahabba is love in your heart. But I want to show you something. Love is of three components. We have a mukammil, we have a mustakmil, and in between there you have a ulka wujudiyya. They said you've got perfecter and you've got perfected. And between perfecter and perfected, there is existential platform between them. That existential platform is what they call love. Let me give an example to understand. When you get hungry, where do you go? You rush to food. Why do you go to food? Because food is perfecter. And you are perfected. And what pushes you to food is what they call mahabba and love. Therefore, when I go to this lady to propose, I go there because something within me is telling me this lady will perfect me. Therefore, let him go to this lady. When your father and grandfather accept the proposal because they've realized that in this man there is something to perfect our daughter. Therefore, marriage is something that we cannot run out of it. We have to perfect one another in marriage from all spheres of life, be it spiritual, political, social, material. Rasulullah taught us. Even ayah of Quran mentioned also that even if you get married, Allah will increase your rizq and wealth. So therefore, in this marriage, brothers and sisters, we are in it to perfect one another. Isn't it Allah created me and you illa liya'buduni, for us to be able to perfect ourselves? So therefore, in marriage, that is what is expected from each and every one of us. Now, last but not least, third examination, then we finish. Men have a role to play to perfect the situation. Women has a role to play to perfect the situation. Tonight, let us talk about the role of our women. You as a woman, you as wife, what do you have to do in your family to make sure you perfect the husband? Come with me, let us dissect it one after the other. Number one, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he said, a woman in a marital relationship is regarded as a guard for that relationship. And she will be questioned of what she is asked to guard. Yani, you as a woman, you have to safeguard your husband from indulging into wrongs, whatever the wrong might be. It could be his material life or spiritual life. Your first role as a woman, as a wife, is to make sure you protect your husband. You have to safeguard him. You have to be with him now and then. Therefore, Rasulullah came and taught me and you. Wallah, if there is anyone on the face of the universe that Allah will ask people to make a sajda for, he will ask a woman to make a sajda for her husband. That shows the respect and the ihtiram that a husband occupies in a family. If Allah will ask anyone to pay sajda or to do sajda to someone, he will tell wife, do sajda to your husband. Therefore, it tells you the position that a husband occupies. Therefore, Rasulullah say, if a woman uses a vulgar word, excuse my word, towards her husband, her a'malul hasana will not be accepted by Allah. You abuse your husband. You insult your husband. You attack your husband verbally. You backbite your husband as some women do today. They will sit in their corner and they will be backbiting their husband and they will all be laughing and jiggling about their husband. If a woman does that, Rasulullah said, your a'mal and ibadah will not be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, we have one very, very beautiful riwayah from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu was-salam. Imam said, if a woman brings a cup of water, I want my sisters to listen very carefully. If a woman brings a cup of water to her husband, that cup of water she brings to the husband, sincerely, is better for her than the ibadah of 1 year. And Rasulullah said that each cup she brings, create and establish a palace for her in Jannah. And the cup she brings to the husband for water, Allah will forgive her 60 sins she has committed. Therefore, under the riwayah, Imam said, if a woman serves her husband for 7 days, continuously, khidmat, cooking, doing all those things, khidmat sincerely, to make the relationship work, our beloved Imam says, Allah will close all the 7 doors of Jannah for you, and He will open all the 8 doors of Jannah. You will be asked, my sister, on the day of Qiyamah to enter Jannah through each of the door you desire. Woman must know their position and stop crying and complaining too much in marital lives. Every single effort you make, it's ibadah. Of course, I spoke about the men that day, so no problem. I'm Nashida. Every single effort you make, it is ibadah. And you will get Jannah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, even Rasulullah, someone came to him and told him, my wife, when she look at me with certain look I don't understand. And she doesn't tell me what I have done. Rasulullah said, if you have not done anything wrong towards her, and you have spoken to her, and she continued to do that, Allah will not look at her with the face of rahmah and mercy. And he said, if a woman takes one plate in a house from one point to another in order to serve her husband food, Allah on the day of Qiyamah will look at her with the face of rahmah and mercy. Don't you like it, my sisters? You are the one who chose this one as your life partner, isn't it? Don't abuse the love he has for, because you have women today, some they abuse the love of their husband. Because they realize that this miskin, he loves so much and is willing to do everything. He's scared even in the house. So some women, they sometimes abuse that love. Rasulullah said, Wailun liman agdabat zawjatah. Wail and woe unto a woman who angers her husband, and tuba liman radiya anha zawja, and glory and mercy and rejoice for that lady whose husband is happy and pleased with her. You know, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq reported this riwayah. He said, one day a man came to our beloved Prophet. When he came to Prophet, he described his wife to Prophet. And this is how he described the wife. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I have a very good woman. This lady, whenever I go out in the morning, and my sisters, my mother should do this, she would escort me. She will follow me to certain level, and she will bid farewell and make dua and comes back. And whenever I come back home from work, she would welcome me, hug me, and pray for me. How are you? How is work? I will enter. And whenever I sit quietly alone, pondering, cogitating, reflecting, and thinking, she would come to me. This fellow was reporting to Rasulullah. She would come to me and said, if you are thinking about your rizq and dunya, stop thinking, because someone is taking care of it, and that is Allah. But if you are thinking about your relationship with Allah, I ask Allah to make you more sad so that you can think more about Him and establish that relationship with Him. You know what Rasulullah said to this man? Bashirha bil Jannah. Give a glad tidings of entering Jannah. فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ عُمَّالِ اللَّهِ. Because that lady, she's among those who work for Allah. And every day of her life in that marital relationship, she will be given the reward of 70 shuhada. Very important. You welcome him, you hug him, you sit him down, you give him a cup of water. How was your day? These are all ibadah, and it gives you a lot of pleasure on the day of Qiyamah in the eye of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, we are told there are 3 ladies. On the day of Qiyamah, they will enter Jannah with Fatima Zahra. They ask Imam, what are the characteristics and the qualities of those ladies? He said, number 1, these are ladies who are patient with the jealousy of their husbands. You know, some husbands are very jealous. Even if his wife is talking to another woman, it's a problem. Let alone talking to another man, of course. So therefore, Hadith said, if she is patient and has sabr of all the jealousy shown by her husband, and she contains herself nicely, on the day of Qiyamah, she will enter Jannah with Fatima Zahra. Number 2, if she is sabr, she has got sabr with the bad behavior and the akhlaq of the husband. She's got sabr. She persevere. She only advise him and make dua. On the day of Qiyamah, she will enter Jannah with Fatima. Look at the 3rd one. Beautifully said by Imam. Said, a woman who after the marriage, the mahar she asked the husband to give, when they get into their marriage, she said, no, I've forgiven you the mahar, keep it. On the day of Qiyamah, she will enter Jannah with Fatima Zahra. Therefore, every effort that a lady does, it brings mercy of Allah. In conclusion, men, of course, they've got right, as I mentioned. One of their right, you as a woman, you cannot go out of your house without a proper permission from your husband. Of course, if you have a good relationship with your husband and he knows, there's no problem. But one of the things is, a woman, you cannot just go anyhow. Today you see some of our women, the way they talk to men, they jiggle, they laugh, they jump. A married woman has to have modesty in her life. It is an amanat of that husband. If you do that, you have violated the right of the husband. Isn't it? We are told in the hikayat and the riwayat that there was this lady who got married to a man from Ansar. And this man had to travel. And he told his wife, don't go anywhere, stick in that house until I come back. But the father of this poor lady was sick. She sent to Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, my husband said I should not go out. But my father is sick. Can I pay a visit to my father? Look at the response of Rasulullah. Stick where your husband asked you to stick. Until the father died. When he died, she sent to Rasulullah. They said she sent 3 times. The last one is until the father died. She said, my father is gone. Can I go there? Rasulullah said, stick in your house until your husband comes. When the husband came back, they all went to Rasulullah. And Rasulullah said, because of your sabr and patience and how you conducted yourself in the house of your husband, you and your father are forgiven and you will enter Jannah of Allah. So therefore, marriage is about rights. And you have to observe the right of one another. Once we do that, then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will bless us in our marriage. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to forgive us, inshallah. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to make it easy for us, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى اللهم على محمد وآله الطاهرين.